Hello, I am super excited that you continue to join us here on this Hope to Purpose challenge. And you are seeking more. You're seeking more out of this life. You're seeking to have a life to the full. You're seeking to live a life of purpose so you can live on purpose for that life. And ultimately, it's going to lead you and I to living with joy overflowing. So that's part of what I'm talking about today. This is the title of this teaching is going to be Knowledge is Out. And this really blew my mind here in the last month or so. I became acutely aware of this. So let's kick this off with a little scripture here. And again, if you're not a follower of Jesus or this church or God stuff is not even in your bailiwick, that's okay. I was where you are about 11 years ago, and we welcome all people into Life Transformed. We use scripture. I'm going to use scripture in this case just because it's part of who I am now. It's part of my truth. So I just ask that you come open and curious. And just because there's something from the Bible that will be interwoven into this talk today doesn't mean, don't judge it based on any preconceived notions you may have about the Bible or religion or church or Christianity or, whatever your history, Judaism, whatever it is, Buddhism, I don't care what it is. All right. So let's start off. And this is 1 Samuel 3:1, 9, 10, and 11. The boy Samuel ministered before the Lord under Eli. In those days, the word of the Lord was rare. There were not many visions. So Eli told Samuel, go and lie down. And if he calls you, say, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. So this came, if you're familiar with the story, this came after Samuel had gone to Eli several times before. And each time Eli would say, no, I'm not calling you. He thought Eli was calling him. So finally he said, this is what I want you to do. Just sit down and say, speak, for your servant is listening. And the Lord said to Samuel, see, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. All right, so think about that. He's about to do something. And I think it's the same way with where we are today. If I look at my life, my story, it's been a series of transitions that way. Thinking that you hear something, whether I was following God or not, and thinking, okay, I need to just stop and listen. Stop and listen. Think about times in your life where you just charge ahead. I think for me, it was before the age of 50. I would just go, go, go. I was truly in the world, and it was all about making things happen, taking action, personal growth, goals, objectives, all these things. Go, go, go. And the more busy I was, the more I was fulfilling what I thought was my purpose. That's what I thought the purpose of, the life and living life in this world was all about. So my story was pretty much that, just growing up, living the American dream, working hard, getting a good job after college, saving a bunch of money. I had everything from the outside world perspective and from this world's perspective. And the ironic thing is, and this is what my hope is always in my heart, that I'm reaching somebody younger or somebody that is where I was. Maybe you're down the road and you're saving money and you want to eventually retire, all those things. That's cool. But just know, and at least for me, the older I got, the more I kept sensing there's got to be something more. There has to be something more. Because each time that I achieved what the world was saying is what you should be achieving, whether it be having a healthy retirement account, getting married, owning my own house, things paid off, going on nice vacations, not wanting for anything. The more I experienced those things that were supposed to be freedom, the more I thought, wow, there's got to be something more. So in this case, if you look at Samuel, I think that was indicative of me. My belief is that God was always chasing after me. And he was calling out to me, much like he did to Eli, but I just didn't hear. I would respond, who's that? Is that the world telling me keep going? And in my case, that's what it was. I kept falling back on, well, this is what I've been taught. This is the way to freedom in this world. So think about your own story and why this is important. I believe that if you haven't gotten to that point in your life where you say to yourself, boy, there must be something more, then you will. It's coming. You may not have gotten there yet, but that something more is coming. And that impulse to act was also nagging me the older I got. And I started asking myself, well, what am I supposed to do? What is it that I'm supposed to do? And the older I got, the more I started searching for those things. And there's so many things in the world that you can reach out to. There's assessments and there's, counseling and there's books, self-help books and all these things that you can reach out to. So it'll keep you busy for a lifetime searching for what is it that I'm supposed to do. And to a large extent, I think that's born in all of us. We all want to know, what is it that I'm supposed to do? So when are you going to know what you're supposed to do? Well, part of being in this challenge is all about finding your purpose. That's why we call it Hope to Purpose Challenge. Through each of our individual stories and what we teach and the environment we create in the community, that's our goal, is to help you answer that question. Okay. So as I thought about it again in my life, and it increasingly was kind of nagging on me. What is it? Is it nagging on you yet? Is it something that you think about often? Or by me just speaking this, is that putting it into your awareness right now? Think about, when it's all said and done, what is my purpose on this earth? Why was I specifically created? What is going on there? And there's a battle going on between, I believe, your true purpose, what you were created for, and what the world says, much like in my story. My story, knowledge was everything. I went to because knowledge was everything. It's how much you know. That's what differentiates you from someone else. Even in skill sets, you have to learn different skill sets. Once you have that knowledge, then you can differentiate yourself. Knowledge is the power. Information is the power. Well, things are changing. I think they've changed right in the middle of everything else that's going on. And for some, like me, it was a little bit more of a subtle change. And we're going to get to here in a little bit what that change really was. But let's go back and let's think about from a historical standpoint. And let's go back to the agricultural age. Back then, most people were family oriented. They're on a farm, or everybody was working for the betterment of the family. That's really what everything was all about. And you think back beyond the agricultural age, what ushered that in was really the Neolithic Revolution, which began around 12,000 years ago. And that's when humans transitioned from being kind of nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle to settled farming communities. So the thought was, okay, we're roaming around, we're going from place to place, we go to this space, and then when we've used all the resources, we go to another one. Well, now the agricultural age was more like, okay, let's settle in here and let's do something. Let's make the most of the land. And that kind of led to the domestication of plants and animals. which led to the development of civilizations and changes in our social structure. Think about that. So then within that structure, you are asking, okay, who am I within this structure? Okay, I'm a family member. Maybe I tend to the animals. Maybe I help grow the plants, the vegetables to feed us. And then as we maybe partner up with other people, other families, we start to develop these civilizations, these social structures, how we all kind of intermingle together. Well, following that age, the agricultural age, then we shift a little bit to the industrial age, which began around 1760 in Great Britain. And think of that as the replacement of hand tools with power-driven machines and the concentration of industry in large establishments. So in the industrial age, kind of shifted from who are you to what do you do? What do you do? Industrial age, okay, finding our way. You go to work in a large manufacturing plant and you start, you're contributing that way and you get paid from an outside source and then you take that money back and then you purchase. So that was all the industrial age. Replacement of hand tools or manual labor with power-driven machines and the concentration of industry in large establishments. So then we get forward to the mid-20th century and we have the information age or the knowledge age, what I like to call the knowledge age. What do you know? That's what the characteristic is there. And that was characterized by kind of a rapid shift from those traditional industrial economies to an economy based on information technology. And I think most of you watching this today kind of grew up or have been a part of the information age. And that's where knowledge is powerful. I talked about that a little bit in the beginning. So the idea that access to and the control of information is the defining characteristic of this current era in human civilization. That is the definition of the information age. So access and control of information, knowledge is the characteristic in human civilization. And think about that. That is pretty much true in our world, or was pretty much true in our world up until very recently. That's what I am assessing here in this teaching. Up until very recently, information and knowledge was power. You take a look at everything that we've been taught is, go collect knowledge, get a college degree, do those things, right? All right. So now we transition, I believe, into the next age, from the information age to the transformation age. And that is, how do you move? How do you move? Someone, Allison, I think, coined that in our group. We've got to move. We've got to take action. So the transformation age is all about moving, taking action, transforming. No longer knowledge is necessary. Power, knowledge as power and information. No, it doesn't really matter what knowledge you have. It's what are you doing? What are you doing? So how do you move? Definition of move, verb to change in position from one point to another, to follow a specified course, to change posture or position. Stir, okay? So move is to do something. Transformation, to do something, impact something. How do you transform water into ice? You have to put it in the freezer, and then it transforms into ice. So you add cold temperature to water and it transforms it. So there's got to be an action. You've got to move. You've got to do something. Let's go back to the Bible, Exodus 14:15. Tell the Israelites to move on. Tell the Israelites to move on. Time to move. Leviticus 26:10. You will be eating last year's harvest when you will have to move it out to make room for the new. And I love that. Just think about that's what we're doing. We've got to move out our knowledge-based mindsets, our information age-based thoughts and processes. We have to move them out to make way, to make room for the new. And the new is the transformation. I invested so many hours in my life with acquiring new knowledge. Oh my goodness, I was a knowledge junkie. And it's easy for me to slip into that. Take another course, take another class, get a degree, delve into this, delve into that. What do you do? Hey, I am a fill in the blank. And I need the knowledge. So then, because knowledge is power. If I have knowledge, I'll be respected. So this is the shift. And if you're on the edge of this shift, if you're on the cutting edge, you realize that maybe today is the day that you understand it on a higher level. And you say, wow, okay, I'm going to start to do that. I'm going to get out of the mindset of knowledge is power, information is power, and shift to move. I want to move out that paradigm, move out what's been programmed into me, and make way, make room for the new. And then we go to Matthew 23:4. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move. And isn't that what happened? In the knowledge age, in the information age, the big companies, you think about it in our culture, we put all the load on other people's shoulders. But the ones in power, they weren't having to move. They just collected. They did things to leverage their power, to gain more money, to gain more cash. And it was often on the shoulders of other people. Now, other people got rewarded for that. Absolutely. They got monetary gain as well. So start thinking about that. Why is that important to understand these things? How we've evolved over the ages. I think it's so important because you start to understand that there is a constant with God. He's always going to be growing us and expanding us and taking us from one age to another age. Some of us, we have our individual walks with God in this case, and some of us will go through faster than others. But we have this pull, the gravitational pull of society that we are all living in. So it's, again, that yin and yang of I've got to live in the world. And that's, I think, one of the benefits of our community is you can get a taste of living outside of the world, being in the world but not of the world, and looking at things from a different perspective, looking at things from a countercultural perspective, getting insight that can help you get right back to what else is there for me? There's got to be something more. When you start having eyes to hear, eyes to see and ears to hear what that more is, it starts to be earth-shaking. Okay, so the Hebrew word for move is malach, which means messenger and angel. So when I think about that, I think, whoa, could this be a sign for you and I to truly shift our purpose out of the information, out of the knowledge age, and into the transformation age? For me, 100%, that's been the case ever since August. It'll be 11 years ago in August when I basically had the angel of God come upon me and the Holy Spirit and took all the weight of the world off of me and started shifting me, transforming me to clear out all my mind from what I had learned in the past and to renew it and be made new. So again, back to me, and through these last 10 plus years, I've continued to grow and expand. And this breakthrough, this going from the information age, the knowledge age, to the transformation age, is mind blowing. And like Samuel, for me, finally, I was told to lay down. And that was almost 11 years ago. That was those of you who know, I had my lawnmower moment where I found myself in a fetal position saying, boy, there's got to be something more. I can't do this anymore. So after a lifetime of gaining knowledge and living in the information age, I all of a sudden started to see something new. I didn't know what it was. So I've been on this journey following Jesus, but it's been great. So you have your story too. Are you still deep into the knowledge gaining mindset? Maybe you've already transitioned and you're experiencing transformation right now. Wherever you're at on that spectrum, it's good. It's okay, because you have awareness now that this transition is happening. And what was the big spark for transitioning us out of the information or knowledge age? AI. All right, when this hit me, it was like a ton of bricks. You talk about a revelation. AI means everyone has access to a knowledge. It's just right at their fingertips. Everyone. So knowledge is no longer power. Our education model is dying anyway. And so, it's happening. Enrollment is down in colleges and cost is going up. And where do we have knowledge supreme, especially in the US? Healthcare. Healthcare spending is up 17% in the US. And 31% of that spending is in hospital care. Highest paid professions are in the medical field. It can't be sustained. You see what's happening? All these people that are, and God bless them, people have good hearts that want to go in the medical field, but that's going to be no longer where the power is. The power is going to be how we can work together. Instead of a young person chasing, well, where are the highest paid professions? Let's go to the medical field. Even though it's also among the most stressful jobs, right? So start thinking about all these factors coming in. And when it hit me this way, I'm like, whoa, now I understand why God's putting in my heart, hey, Robert, start transitioning now to the transformation age. Clear out your head from all the knowledge. So that's what's happening. We are transitioning. And why is it important? Because it's important to know we're transitioning so you can be ahead of the curve. So you can help others transition smoothly through this. So what does it mean for you and me as we move to the transformation age? First of all, I think you have to determine what you're moving towards. John Maxwell always taught, don't leave something, be going to something. So what are you going to? What does transformation look like in our world right now? Well, I think, give you some examples, I think transformation looks like people working together, collaborating, co-creating new things together based on something new, not any of the current knowledge. We're each created so uniquely and so individually, and we all offer unique gifts that we can offer. So start looking to collaboration, to teamwork, to your community, to your peeps. And I don't mean just as a subset of your life. I mean, make that a part of your life. Make the community the focus of your life, and co-collaborating the focus of your life. What knowledge or information do I need to shed to allow me to move into this mindset? So that's going to require some work, some thought, because we've had a whole lifetime, wherever you're at, you've had a whole lifetime of this kind of poured into you. So good news, we're going to have a course that'll kick off in September where you'll be able to, we'll take you through how to do all this. And why is this relevant right now? Well, think of the kids in the future. If you have kids, you know kids, you're a grandparent, whatever it may be, boy, we need to set those kids up the right way. Because the people that continue to hold on white knuckled to the knowledge and information age, oh my goodness, I don't think it's going to work out well. As we transition out of that, those people are going to be left like, whoa. And you have the same thing that happened in the past over those other ages. So the world needs a new model. And we are going to all perish if we keep hammering down the information and knowledge road. What does Jesus teach us? He teaches us to go and make disciples. Go. Again, take action, move. So what does the transformation age look like? Let me take a stab at it. It's about action. Like I said earlier, collaboration, creativity, working together for the kingdom versus working for the dollar, working together for others versus the dollar. I think there's going to be a whole shift away from money, having a life of purpose. And then those of us who are true Jesus followers, increasing the number of sleepers that are awakened. Sleepers are people that just aren't aware. I think they're people that are chasing the dollar, as an example. And as we go to the transformation age, it's going to be beautiful because there won't be that chasing of the dollar anymore. Just imagine co-collaborating with others. My mind can just go crazy. And the other promise is living life to the full. We'll be able to live life to the full if we're ahead of this curve on the transformation age. All right, so this sounds good, Robert, you say. So how do we do it? How do you do this? Well, I'm going to have a class called Be Transformed, a course that's going to begin in September. And there we're going to take you through a process to get you ahead of the curve, to allow you to transition from the information knowledge age, which is out, into the new age, which is the transformation age. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your session.